we have covered what is a basic computer system, what do you mean by simple program logic, what are the logical errors. Then we have seen the steps involved in the program development cycle, number of phases are there in program development cycle. Then we have seen what is pseudocode statement and flowchart, how to write pseudocode for a particular problem, and how to design flowchart for a particular problem. Now today we will start with using a sentinel value to end a program. See, using a sentinel value to end a program means what? Before starting this concept, we have to understand what do you mean by repeating instructions. Okay, you see, repeating instructions in terms of flowchart. For example, we have a flowchart how to double a value of a particular number. We have already seen what is the meaning of this flowchart. Now suppose this current instance of a flowchart, it is fine or it is working when we want to test it for a single number only. If we have input one number and we want to double it, then it is working fine. But suppose we want to double the values of 10,000 numbers. In that case, this particular flowchart is not that much efficient. That means it is not possible to run each and every, or it is not possible to write this much of statements 10,000 number of times. In that case, we have to repeat the instructions. That means if we want to repeat the instructions, then the best thing we can use is the loop. Loop means repetition of a series of statements. We can repeat a number of steps for a number of times. For example, if you want to execute, if you want to double the values of 10,000 numbers, then you can execute the same number of statements 10,000 number of times. Just put that code in a particular loop. Okay, but at the same time, we must be able to take the care of infinite loop. Infinite loop means our loop should not run in infinite number of times. That means we should provide some condition to the loop so that program must be able to exist from it. That means once we have computed the double values for 10,000 numbers, then our program should be able to exit from it. That is nothing but the infinite loop. Okay, and this is the condition of repeating instructions. Repeating instructions means we want to repeat some set of steps for number of times. That is nothing but repeating instructions. Okay, Jesse, now we will see what
Yes,
is
ma'am.
using a sentinel value to end a program. What do you mean by this sentinel value? Okay, for that purpose, for example, in terms of drawing a flow chart, we have one symbol, we have one shape, that is diamond shape, and the use of this diamond shape is taking the decision. We can call it as a decision symbol. That means if you want to make any decision, whether the condition is true or false, whether it is positive or negative, whether we want to continue yes or no, if such a situations are there, in that cases, in our program, in our flowchart, we can use this diamond shape. That means we can put some condition over here. If it is true, one part will get executed. If it is false, some other part will get executed. This is called as a decision symbol which is used in a flowchart. So just see, we will see what is a sentinel value in terms of it. Sentinel value, it is a particular value. If that value occurs within the code, at that time we can, or the system can determine automatically that this is the exit for the program. That means program should be able to terminate. That is called as the sentinel value. Okay. For example, in our problem of doubling the value of a number, our problem was we want to double the value of a number. Now, obviously, if it is any number other than 0, then it is possible to double its value. And even though if we are providing 10,000 number of numbers as an input and we want to double the values of all those 10,000 numbers, then it is possible. But if a situation occurs in a program and the input to the system is 0, the number is 0, then obviously we know that the double value of 0 is always 0. Then there is no meaning to repeat number of statements number of times. That's why we can consider this as a exit for the program. That means program should exit at this point because there is no meaning to repeat or to execute the number of statements number of times. As the input is 0, we are doubling it, it will again 0. If we are doubling it, it will again 0. That means system must be able to identify that this is the this should be the exit for the current program. In that case, we can consider this 0 value for doubling the program. We can consider this 0 as a sentinel value to this program. Got it? What is sentinel value? Sentinel value. 1 minute, please. Hello.
Hello. बोलना.
You got it? What is sentinel value? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Are you able to get the concept of sentinel value?
Yes, ma'am.
Sentinel value depends on your context. What is your problem? That means depends on your problem. You must be able to identify a particular condition, a particular value, so that it should be the exit for the program. That means there is no mean to execute the same number of statements for more number of times. For example, here the sentinel value is 0. The value of my number, if the value of my number is 0 and we want to double it, it will again be 0. If we are again doubling it, it will again 0. That means there is no meaning to repeat the next execution any number of times. That's why we are considering my number equals to 0 as a sentinel value here. Sentinel value, it is nothing but a value in a program so that the program need not to be continue its execution. That means system must be able to identify this is the exit for the program. Exit for the program. One more thing, we can consider end of file, EOF, end of file as a second sentinel value in any particular program. End of file means, suppose in a file system, we want to read a particular text file. We are reading the data from our program line by line. And if the system is detecting this is the end of your text file, that means there is no more next text statement is present in your file. At that time, there is no need to continue reading your file. That's why we can consider end of file as a sentinel value in a program where we want to read data from a text file. Okay, that's why my number equals to 0 can be considered as a sentinel value, as well as in the problem of reading a data from particular file, we can consider end of file, EOF, as a second sentinel value here, because as it is the end of the file, there is no more text to be read. That's why it is better to exit from the program in that case. That's why we are considering these two as the sentinel values. Okay, just see these two flow charts. On the left hand side flow chart, it is a flow chart for doubling a value of a number. But if the value of my number, just see here, we have used the decision statement. We have used the diamond here. Inside diamond, we have put one condition. And the condition is that if the value of my number is 0, obviously my number value is either 0 or other than 0. If it is 0, if it is not 0, it is fine. If it is not 0, if the answer is no, if the answer is false, then it is fine to double the value of my number. We can be able to double the value of any non-zero value. But if the value of my 0 is 0, my number is 0, if the condition is S, then it is fine to stop the next execution of the program. That's why we are considering this particular part as a sentinel value here in terms of doubling a value of a number. In reading number of data from a file, we can consider end of file as a sentinel value. We have put here in a diamond shape because we want to work it as a decision condition. Obviously, it can be either an end of file or it is not the end of file. If it is not the end of the file, then we can read the data from the file. But if it is the end of file, if the condition is true, if the answer is yes, then it is nominal or it is fine to stop the next execution of the program because there is no more values in our program. That's why we are considering this end of file, EOF, as a sentinel value. Okay. That's why we are saying that sentinel value is a value at which we can determine we should stop the next execution of the program. Next, we will see what is a programming environment and what is user environment. Two terms are here, programming environment and user environment. You see, programming environment, it is an environment on which or by using which the programmer or developer develops the code, tests the code, and execute the code. That is called as programming environment. What is programming environment? Programming environment, it is an environment on which programmer or developer develops code, writes code, executes code, tests code, and seeing whether it is working fine or not. It is called as programming environment. Okay, and what is user environment? User environment is the environment to which it is the environment of the software to which end user of the software interacts with. Okay, you see, in programming environment.
हॅलो मॅम.
Hello.
हा
Yes.
मॅम, ते बाकीच्या मुलांचा मला फोन आला होता.
हा.
ते म्हणे रिक्वेस्ट ऍड होते, ऍड नाही होते ते.
Okay, one minute.
ओके.
Hello, am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Just see, if you have missed anything, you can get the recorded file, you can get the recorded video, you can refer later on also. Is it fine?
Yes.
Okay. We are considering what is the programming environment and what is user environment. What is programming environment? It is the environment on which programmer or developer writes code, executes code, tests code, and view whether it is working fine or not. That environment is called as programming environment. That means the programmer working on the thing, that is called as programming environment. And user environment means it is the environment to which end user of the system interacts with. Okay. For example, in programming environment, programmer uses text editor to write some code into it. Also, programmer uses IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. Programmer is using Integrated Development Environment. What is this Integrated Development Environment? This is a tool, or this is the environment which contains editor as well as compiler, and it also includes other programming tools. That means programmer is able to directly write the code into the editor. He is compiling that code over there. He is viewing whether it is working fine or not, and he is giving the support for other programming tools within the integrated development environment. Okay, one example of integrated development environment IDE is Microsoft Visual Studio IDE. Microsoft Visual Studio IDE, which can be considered as the one platform or programmer can develop his software in a Visual Studio, VB.NET or C#.NET, etc. Okay, that means in programming environment, programmer can use text editor, or programmer is using integrated development environment to do his own stuffs there. Okay, for developing the software, programmer is using integrated development environment. And what is user environment? User environment, it is the environment to which end user of the software communicates with, interacts with. Okay, the C programmer is developing the software. Whenever that software is handed over to the end user of the software is interacting with the software, and that interaction of the end user with the software, it is called as user environment. Now just see, end user can interact with software by two ways. The first way is that through the command prompt, and the second way is that using the graphical user interface. User of the system can interact with the software by two ways. First way is command line prompt, and second way of using the software is graphical user interface. Now just see, through the command line prompt, end user can give some input and system will return some system is doing some processing and displaying some output to the end user. That is called as command line. We can consider command line prompt, that is the black window through which user is giving some input and user is viewing how the system, how the software is behaving, which is called as user is interacting through the command prompt. That is the black window, CMD, command prompt. Okay, and the second way is by using graphical user interface. User can interact with the software through the graphical user interface also. Graphical user interface, it is normally referred as GUI. What is GUI? Whatever the softwares we are using over the Windows operating system, whatever the softwares we are using, apps we are using over the mobile phones, we are interacting with their graphical user interface. You see, those are also the softwares. Whatever the applications which are installed in our mobile phones, these are also softwares, and we end user, we people, the person who is using that software, that person is interacting with that application software through its graphical user interface. Graphical user interface shows some text fields, some buttons, some input, it is displaying some information. Whatever that interacting environment is, it is called as the graphical user interface. Okay. These are the two ways by which end user of the system can communicate with the software. You see one example of one diagram which shows how the programming environment is, how the programming environment looks like. This is the programming environment for Microsoft Visual Studio. Okay, just see, it is the IDE, Integrated Development Environment of Microsoft Visual Studio. Here, this is the environment over the programmer is writing his code, programmer is debugging his code, and programmer is executing whether the code is working fine or not. This particular environment is called as programming environment. We can refer it as a IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Just see, if you are able to see here, just see, the programmer can write his code here, he can save that code, he can debug the code, he can execute the code, and he is viewing whether it is working fine or not. This is the programming environment and the example of user environment. As I have already told, user can interact with the system software by two ways. First way is by using command prompt. Just see how the command prompt looks like. One example is here. This is the output of, or this is the user environment for doubling the value of a number. For example, system is displaying please enter a number. We are providing the input through the keyboard. System software is processing that particular values, that particular program, and it is displaying the output 13 doubled is 26. Okay, if such a window is there, that means interaction of the end user of the software with the software through the command prompt. It is called as one particular user environment, how the user can interact with the software. And the second way of interaction with the software is through the graphical user interface. You can see here one graphical user interface. It is again the same problem, doubling the value of a number. System is displaying please enter number. Within the text box, we can provide our input, and system is displaying us 14 double is 28. Okay, if such an environment is there, it is called as graphical user interface. That means through the graphical user interface, user is interacting with software. Okay, these are the two ways by which user can communicate with software. First way is by using the command prompt. Second way is by using the graphical user interface. Okay, the next point we will see the evolution of programming models. Evolution of programming models means how the programming models get evolved from history to till date. Okay, now just see, initially the programming was started near about in 1940s. Programming for the computer, for developing computer systems, for developing various applications started in the year of near about 1940s. Okay, and those are the older programming languages. Some innovations get happened day by day, decade by decade, and today in 2020s we have some modern programming languages. Okay, let's see what is the difference or what is the main notifying point in evolution of programming models is that the older programming languages are not like natural languages. Okay, are not like natural languages means those programming languages are hard to understood by person or any human being. Okay, those programming languages can be understood by the computer systems but are hard to understand and learn for the human beings. Okay, but as the evolution takes place in today's era, modern programming languages are more like natural languages. That means those programming languages, modern programming languages, are easy to understand and easy to use. Okay, you see the basic programming, older programming languages are Fortran, COBOL, Pascal. Then some evolution get happened. Then there is a procedure oriented programming like C language. Then again some evolution get happen. Then there is the era of object oriented programming languages like C++, Java. Such a kind of evolution get happen. Okay, and if you compare, for example, Fortran, a old programming language with higher programming language like Java. Okay, Fortran is less understandable or less user friendly for human being, but Java, which is a higher programming language, which is more understandable or it is more like a natural language for the human being. Okay, that means it is very easy to understand and use the concepts of Java as compared to Fortran language or COBOL language. Okay, you see, there are two major models or there are two major programming models or programming paradigms used by the programmers. Identified programming paradigms or models are procedural programming models and object-oriented programming models. Okay, procedure programming models these are focusing on the procedures that the programmers are creating, and it is just like a line by line execution within the program. We are able to create the functions, we are able to create the procedures, and all those procedures and functions are executing line by line in procedure programming model. Okay, but in object oriented programming model, everything is around the object. Object is nothing but this thing which describes some number of features and behaviors. Okay, you see, the basic programming model was procedural programming model, and the advanced programming model is the object oriented programming model. This object oriented programming model provides much more number of features as compared to procedural programming model. That's why in today's era, in current industry, normally the industry is following the programming, normally industry is following object oriented programming models. Okay, the languages which are used in procedural programming model are, for example, COBOL is there, Fortran is there, C language is there, and the languages which are following the object oriented programming model are C# is there, C++ is there, Visual Basic is there, Java is there. These are the different languages which comes under the object oriented programming model. Lastly, summary. What we have seen, this is the end of chapter 1. We will see the summary, what we have learned in chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have seen what is a computer system. In that computer system, how the hardware and software, both in combination with each other, performs input operation, processing operation, and output operation. Then we have seen logic must be developed correctly. Then we have seen something about the logic and logical errors. Logic means how a particular problem, how the solution for a particular problem can be implemented. That is nothing but the logic. Logic means how the solution for a particular problem can be developed. That is called as logic. And we must be able to develop that logic to solve the problem correctly. Okay. There can be two types of errors in software systems. First one, logical errors and syntax errors. Okay, syntax errors means those are the errors which are within the program, or these are the mistakes made by the programmer at the time of writing the code. Okay, syntax errors are nothing but he is using some feature of the programming language some by wrong way. Those are called as syntactical errors, syntax errors. And logical errors are not the mistakes done by the programmer, but these are the errors which are associated with some wrong thing we are using to implement something. Okay, that means even though the program is working fine, but the output is not whatever we want to desire. Okay, what we desired, that is not the output. It is working fine, but we are not getting the correct output. Such errors are called as logical errors. Then we have seen what are the flowcharts and what is a pseudocode. Flowchart is nothing but the diagrammatic structure, or it is the diagrammatic flow, pictorial representation, how the system will work. It is containing number of symbols, and there is a meaning for each and individual symbols. Okay, with the help of flowchart, it is easy to plan the solution for the problem. Then what is pseudocode? Pseudocode is nothing but the English-like representation of the software that we want to implement. It is not exactly the programming code, but it is something, it contains some number of statements which represents how we can be able to solve the problem. Okay, you see, these flowcharts and pseudocode, these things, or even IPO charts, TOE charts, these can be used to plan the solution for the problem, to plan the logic to solve the problem. Okay, then we have seen we can avoid the infinite loops, or we can able to detect the end or the exit of the program by using a concept of a sentinel value. Then we have seen how a text editor or integrated development environment can be used by the programmer to develop the code. Okay, this is all about first unit of data structure. Is it fine? Is there any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Is
ma'am.
there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
If you have any doubt,
No,
you
ma'am.
can ask the doubt in
No, ma'am.
WhatsApp group also. Huh? If you
Yes,
have any
ma'am.
doubt, if you have any query, any problem, you can just put it your question in WhatsApp group also. Fine.
Yes,
Madam,
ma'am.
what is
Here we have
Yes, ma'am.
completed first unit of data structure. Someone is speaking? Yes. What is the problem? Someone is speaking.
Madam, what is IPO?
IPO, just see, it is the input output type of flow charts. It is also one type of charts, the pictorial representation through which we can represent our problem. Okay, just see, IPO is also used to plan the logic to solve the problem. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Tomorrow we will start with chapter 2. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you
Yes,
everyone.
ma'am.